2023 was the worst year I've ever had in my life, and 2024 is the loneliest year I've ever had in my life. Not just in my adult life, my entire life. I brought in the new year at the lowest point I've ever been. And not low as in, oh, I had a bad day low. I mean, not wanting to be alive low. And that feeling has been consistent throughout this whole year. To simply put it without going into too many details, I did not plan nor want to see New Year's 2024. I deleted all social media before the new year began because I wanted to completely remove myself. But before I did, I saw a clip of a movie on my feed in the form of a reel. And what I saw related to me in a way that I was not ready for. So on the first day of the year, while alone in my apartment, depressed and defeated, I watched a movie. A Silent Voice is a 2016 Japanese animated drama that tackles some very strong topics in its 2-hour runtime. I won't be giving a full review, plot breakdown, or synopsis of the movie. I'm gonna include spoilers, but I highly encourage you to watch this for yourself. This video's focus is just expressing how it connected to me personally. I will be speed running through what the movie is about, but if you really want to get a full feel of it, I really encourage you to watch it. Our protagonist is a young man named Shoya Ishida. I'ma be butchering these names, bruh. Please forgive me, please. The movie begins with him politely quitting his job and thanking his manager for the opportunity, selling his personal belongings, and taking all his money out of the bank and putting it on his mother's bedside while she sleeps. A calendar on his wall reads, "Last Day." With that, you realize these are the last acts of a man who's officially clocked out. This opening hit me like a truck. I felt like I needed to watch this movie, while at the same time second guessing if I should be watching this movie. Because the state of mind that I was in, I was seeing from this character already. As I watched him put a bow on all his loose ends before committing to his decision, I felt extremely sad. Not because I was sad for him, but because that's exactly what I did during the month of December. I wanted to wrap up everything and leave on my own accord. So watching him stand on that bridge, knowing the decision he was about to make, felt like I was watching myself about to actually go through with it. But as soon as he's about to commit to it, he doesn't. He gets distracted. He gets snapped back into reality and walks away. The amount of times that my mind has snapped back into reality after I've been locked in on the choice that I made, I can't even count how many times that has happened. So as tough as it is to say, as much as I didn't want this character to feel how he feels, I understood why he felt what he felt, and I understood it enough to accept it if he were to go through with what he wanted to do. I was so low that whenever I heard of somebody committing suicide, my first thought wasn't what other people's thoughts were. People are usually upset and confused at the person, like, why didn't they talk to me? How come they didn't speak to somebody? What could I have done to do this? They're so selfish, or why? But every time that I heard that somebody went out that way, I felt envy. I felt jealousy because of the strength they had to go through with it. They are so completely untethered to this world that they made the decision for themselves without letting outside factors deter it. The thought of family, the thought of friends, the thought of possible future goals being met did not stop them for doing what they wanted to do. They made a choice to completely leave this world on their own terms, and I didn't feel sadness or confusion when I heard. I just felt jealous. When I heard these stories, all I could think was, I wish I was strong enough to join you. So watching Shoya go through the process of these things made me feel as if I was watching myself, but it was like a fantasy. I was feeling sad that he's gotten to this point in his life because no one should feel that way, while at the same time, I wanted him to feel the relief that he deeply wants, and sadly, I was hoping that he would take that jump. And all of that is just what I felt in the first 2 minutes of this movie. Bruh. The movie then goes back in time to show what led him to this decision. We now follow Shoya back in elementary school. And to be honest, sorry for the language, he a little shithead. I hate this. He's a bully and so is his friends. I hate them all. I have a severe disdain for children. But rude children, I despise them. And in my fragile state, once I saw what these kids was doing, I really considered turning the movie off. I'm not even lying to you, bruh. There's a new girl that transfers to the school named Shoko Nishiyamanima. Listen, bruh. Please forgive me, dude. Listen. Her name is Shoko, and the boy's name is Shoya. Alright? We gonna call him homeboy, and we gonna call her shorty. I don't want to hear nothing about it, because I be fumbling these names, bruh. Shoya is the dude, and Shoko is the girl. Homeboy and shorty. That's it. I don't want to hear nothing about it. Now, shorty is deaf, so she communicates through writing in her notebook. She's the sweetest girl you will ever see in your life. Let me reiterate. I know it's anime, so y'all thinking they all look sweet. This chick here, if you look up innocence in the dictionary, you will see a picture of her. I felt like I wanted to protect this girl. She's extremely sweet and her only focus is to be friends and not inconvenience others. But the people around her bully her relentlessly. From writing disgusting things in her notebook to verbally assaulting her.
Can we be friends?
What? You're such a freak!
To physically hurting her, like ripping out and destroying her hearing aids multiple times to the point where they even drew blood. After homeboy gets in trouble for bullying, shorty goes to him to apologize for it because she feels responsible for him being in trouble.
You're not sorry, you're just pathetic!
And what does he do in response? The anger that I felt, okay, is immeasurable. After bullying Shoko, aka Shorty, for so long, his own friend group and classmates turn on him and solely blame him for the bullying, and she eventually transfers schools.
That's not fair! The girls were doing it too! I swear!
I'm going to skip ahead, but I don't want to downplay the mental anguish that this girl went through. While I eventually start relating to both characters, teenage Shoya is the one that I relate to the most, so let's get back to him. Fast forward and the little bully is older and now he's depressed. Now in high school, he has severe anxiety and social isolation, and it is depicted perfectly in this movie. Everyone around him has these huge X's over their faces. His guilt and self-loathing won't allow him to feel like he belongs anywhere. He can't even look people in the eyes because he doesn't feel good enough to have a connection with anyone. He feels completely detached and out of place. That in turn causes him to not be able to truly see someone because they don't truly see him. I strongly related to these scenes. I felt the overwhelming pressure of not being able to act normal or be in a group of people because you felt inadequate or undeserving of being in their presence. Later on in the movie, you found out that homeboy's mom paid off Shorty's mom for all the broken hearing aids. That's the reason he paid back his mother in the beginning of the movie. After that, he decided to make amends with Shorty before killing himself. He still has her notebook from elementary school and tracks her down to return it to her. Now in my mind, I'm like, bro, why in the for what would she want that book back? Y'all was writing trash in that book. Y'all was disrespecting her consistently. When she kept writing, she just wanted to be friends. She kept writing that she was sorry, and y'all just kept disrespecting her in those pages. Why would she want that book back from you? That isn't the nice gesture that you think it is, but I digress. Let's get back to it. He sees her as an older teenage girl and has instant regret for his past actions. He even learned sign language in order to communicate with her, which I thought was really cool. Of course, she's scared as hell and runs away, but eventually he gets her to let her guard down and allow him to talk to her. I'm speeding past so much character development here, but please, watch this movie for yourself. I'm skipping a lot. Soon, homeboy starts trying to assemble all the people they went to elementary school with into one new friend group so they can all give Shorty some closure. That includes her only one true friend and all the other bullies, which I thought was a silly idea, but apparently it worked. You see how all these characters have grown, or haven't, now that they're teenagers. Sidebar, I hate this character. I'm trying not to curse on this channel, but she's a bitch. As time goes on, homeboy starts to actually speak to people and allow friendships to form. You see the X's slowly start to drop from certain characters' faces, which is a huge deal because he's finally being more open. There's even moments where he realizes how far he's come from being socially isolated and being hard on himself. He questions if he's allowed to have friends or even have fun. He's starting to let go of all the guilt and finally allowing himself to be normal. Just when he starts to do that, that bitch of a character ends up bullying Shorty again as teenagers, causing her to once again blame herself and feel like a burden. She confesses that she hates herself for everything she's put people through, even though she hasn't done anything wrong. The people around her made her feel like such an issue, she physically cannot stand herself, and she feels like a burden to everybody. I hate that. When you're so used to people putting you down that you start to feel like you're the reason that they're doing that instead of it being their character flaw, I felt really bad for this character here. At this point in the movie, I genuinely care about these two characters, Homeboy, Shoya, and Shorty, Shoko. This movie does a great job of showing somebody at their lowest point and making you sympathize with them because you understand why they feel like that. As someone who has saved somebody from suicide many years ago, and then fast forward being on the opposite end of that, I understand what everybody is feeling. Some great dialogue about blame, regret, and guilt happens, and it causes a huge rift in the new friend group. No one can fully take responsibility for their part in what happened to Shoko as kids. And in the third act of the movie, after everything seems to be patched up, we get one of the biggest scenes that got the biggest reaction out of me. Homeboy, Shoya, and Shoko, Shorty, grow real close. Early in the movie, she even tried to tell him that she loved him, but due to her voice, cause she's deaf, the message got lost in translation to him.
The moon? It is pretty, isn't it? Well, where are you going?
Shorty's mother even warms up to Homeboy because she used to hate him for the way he bullied her daughter. Everything is really looking up, but there's an off vibe that's underlining it all. I really felt odd during the fireworks scene, and my intuition was right. Shoyo, Homeboy, is trying to make future plans with Shoko, Shorty, to celebrate her birthday. The way he's speaking, he's excited, he's hopeful for the future, he's making plans like, wait, I didn't forget your birthday, right? Yo, we gonna do this because you said you like that. He's very happy with where he's at right now, but in return, she's speaking very bland and matter-of-factly. She's not showing any emotion. Then she randomly decides to leave to go study in the middle of the firework festival. Now throughout the movie, they've been saying see you later in sign language whenever they leave each other. So as the movie gets on, it becomes super noticeable when they do it. So every time they do this to each other, it's like, yo, peace out, homes, you know, I'ma holla at you type joint. So it's like, see you later. But this time, when Shoya does it to Shoko, Shoko responds with something else and I have no clue what it meant. I assumed it meant bye or goodbye, but it seemed very definitive. It wasn't a see you later like he did. He did like this and she said, like, it looked like that's it, full stop, bye. That's what I got from it. I don't know what this means, but that wasn't no see you later. Homeboy ends up going to Shorty's apartment right after she does. They explain why he goes there in the film, but I'm breezing over it. But when he get there, he finds Shorty on the balcony about to jump to her death. She's about to end her own life. Shoya sees this and starts freaking out, stumbling over everything trying to race to save her. At this point, I'm literally yelling at the screen, bro, hurry up, what are you doing? And that's when I knew this movie got me. I felt sympathetic, I felt like I understood, and I felt like a hypocrite because I knew that this girl had no reason to blame herself for everything. And even though she thought that everything would be better if she was gone, it's obviously not true. People would be hurt, people would miss her, and things would change for the worse. And that would be a fact. But when it came to me, I physically could not fathom somebody missing me or being missed by anyone other than my immediate family. For a long time, I couldn't imagine anybody thinking of me unless I was actually placed in front of their face. When somebody randomly texts me or calls me and says, yo, I was thinking about you, it confuses me because I don't understand why. I've never felt like I was an actual presence in people's lives to the point where they cared. I've always felt easy to push away, easy to move on from, and easy to forget. That's why I deleted social media. Because if I felt alone, I actually would rather be alone. I didn't want to pretend to be social. I just wanted to disappear completely. Homeboy thankfully reaches Shorty and pulls her to safety, but in return, he falls instead. I audibly screamed no when this happened because I knew she would blame herself for it. I knew it would make her depression and low self-esteem get even worse. Now, fast forwarding past the emotional bits, he does survive the fall. While in the hospital recovering, everybody in the friend group is sympathetic to Shorty and is reassuring her that her life does matter and that people do care for her. Except that bitch who hits her again and blames her for it again. She even gets in a fist fight with Shorty moms at the hospital because her mother saw her hit her daughter and was like, yo, who is you and what's your beef, Shorty? But for the most part, everybody's nice. After this recovery, he has a one-on-one with Shoko where she continuously apologizes. She repeatedly blames herself and continues to put herself down. I love this scene because it shows how being there for someone and helping someone else can help you grow out of your own situation. And that has been me. My job sometimes would have me train people that are new to the position. And every time that I have trained so far, I have gotten somebody who has from mild anxiety to severe anxiety, or they have a low opinion about themselves when it comes to performing a task correctly. They don't feel they're worth it or they're capable. And knowing how low I have felt, every time I'm training, I go into it like, I cannot let this person feel this way because I know what it feels like. I will help them in whatever way I know how to. I will make them feel comfortable because I know what rock bottom feels like. I know what not feeling good enough feels like. So it makes my day to help this person, to watch them from the beginning to when I stop training and see the confidence grow within them. It makes me feel good. I know what it's like to give up hope. I gave up hope already. So when I see somebody who still has hope say that they're close to giving up hope, I take that personally and I go, there's no way I'm allowing you to give up, which is hypocritical. And I acknowledge that. There's people like, why you can't do that for yourself then? I felt like I've passed that threshold for myself. I've already tapped out, but seeing the potential in somebody else has always been there for me where I won't allow them to tap out. You're good enough. You're worth it. I'm gonna make sure you see it. I'm gonna make sure that you feel seen and appreciated by me if nobody else makes you feel that way. Because that's something I feel like I didn't get. I was struggling to be there for one person for so long that when they decided that they didn't want me around anymore, it was hard for me to continue because I felt like I had no purpose. I felt like I was unwanted, I felt unneeded and unimportant. So I used what I felt to help the people that would allow me to help them. So I relate to Shoya so much because he was suicidal and ready to end it all, but he made redemption with Shoko his last mission. Fortunately for him, she allowed him to do that. He understood helping her feel seen and helping her feel heard is extremely important. Not just to help her, but to also help him. He experienced growth within himself while helping her heal. When someone says, I die for you, that has become the term in which people measure love. But dying for someone or something is easy. That takes no effort. But choosing to live for someone or something is a true expression of love because it takes far greater effort and selflessness to live. It's the much harder path. He genuinely feels good being there for her. And that's something that he'd rather be living to continue to do. Thank you very much for watching this video. This movie was like, when it went off, I felt sadness. I was already low. So I'm like, bro, why did I just watch this film? This joint is beating my ass. Like, if you look this movie up and see people reactions, it don't matter if it's a man or a woman, a he, them, she, or they gonna cry to this joint. It is one of the best animated movies I have ever seen. It really tackles these strong topics in a very blunt but sensitive and correct way, in my opinion. When I relate to a form of media, it makes me feel like, okay, so I'm not tripping. I'm not just doing things just to do it. There's a physical reaction to what I'm feeling and why I do what I do in response to that. And this movie just depicted it perfectly. And this is a movie that matters, and I hope it won some awards. I didn't check, but they killed this joint. Once again, this video is only to express how certain scenes and characters connected to me personally. If you want a full review or deep dive on this movie, I encourage you to watch it yourself or go find those type of videos. But I thank you so much for joining me here on the Just Some Real Guy channel, talking about a silent voice. I'll see you next time. Peace.